I'm Gavin, and this is MLS Fantasy Picks. If you haven't seen my update to content changes this year, be sure to go watch the first part of my round 1 vid. Alright, let's get into round 2. Key considerations for this round. So the CONCACAF Champions Cup is still ongoing, lots of games this week, luckily in the US, so just be sure to keep an eye out for lineups this weekend to see if the teams have rotated at all. Also, keep an eye out on injuries. So there's still some players that are going to be out for a while, as well as some new injuries due to CONCACAF. For example, Andre Blake. We're now into week 2, so you can keep an eye out for some value picks. Early in the season, this is a good time to really focus on raising your team's value. So look for those players that are low in price but scored really well during week 1. Most likely, even if they don't have a great week 2, their price is still likely to increase, giving you more budget to work with. All right, looking at goalkeepers. Getting things started with Drake Callender. So Drake Callender is a bit more of an expensive option this week. I think he's about $7 million, but he had a really good round 1. So he could be a good option if you're willing to pay the price for Callender. Another option I think is Paz at about 6.5. He's home against Montreal. Montreal is sort of a new team. They're away at Dallas. Could be a good chance for a clean sheet and, not too expensive at 6.5. Looking at standard pricing, I've got Berkey here. Berkey's at home against NYCFC. I think he's only about 5.9, so it could be a good option if you're not looking to spend too much money. And then Takaoka at Whitecaps. So Vancouver's playing at home against Charlotte. Charlotte's not really known for their offense. They only had 1 goal last week. They did get the win, but yeah, they're going to be away at Vancouver, so could be a good option at goalkeeper. Budget, I have Pantomis here with Portland. I think he's about a 4.9. Now, I think Crépeau should be starting, so keep an eye out in case Pantomis doesn't get the start this week. I've also got Semley from the Union. Like I said, Andre Blake is out at the moment. But the Union are away this week at Sporting KC, so may not be the best option, but if you need a cheap starter, he could be your guy. This is the guy I am looking at this week, so it's Thomas at Seattle. I believe he should be starting this week instead of Fry. He's a great value pick and not a huge score last week, but really this week I'm looking to save my money to spend, a decent amount on my field players. So instead of running a keeperoo, I'm probably just going to run with Thomas. All right, let's get into defenders. Getting things started with Gressel. So if you watched some of the round 1 games with Gressel in Miami, you probably see he's more in the midfield side of things. So he's playing more as like a right midfielder. We'll see if they change up their lineup at all, their formation at all. But Gressel is a really good pick. He's still on set pieces. A lot of corners. He was sort of just handing it off to Messi. But he is dangerous. He is on the attack. I think he's about a 7.5 now, so a decent premium option at home against Orlando. And if you don't want to go all out, spending 7.5, you've got Alba at a 7.0. Again, another dangerous defender for Miami. They're at home. They're against Orlando. Should be a rivalry match. And yeah, he gets on the attack as well. Could be a good option. Again, I'm liking these Miami defenders. They had some good points game week 1, round 1, so that should carry over into round 2. Even if they don't have a really good score round 1, hopefully they still get that value increase. So I've got Kristoff at standard 6.0. I like him this week. And for next up, I've got a couple of Portland guys. I've got McGraw and Mascara. McGraw's a bit cheaper at a 5.8, where Mascara is at more of a 6.2. They're at home against DC. Yes, DC put up some big numbers last week, but they're also playing against a New England team that was down to 10 men on a red card. And Portland looked really good against Colorado, so that's not saying much. But McGraw, he could get a lot of options or opportunities to get some points, going up against Benteke for clearances, all that type of stuff. So it could be a good option for bonus points as well as a value increase. And then Mascara, he's pretty attacking. It looked like he got an assist last week. So again, you're spending a bit more, but maybe there's a bit more opportunity on the attack with Mascara. And then I've also got Reagan. Now, Seattle's a bit risky this week as they didn't have a great round 1, so it may not be a great value add, but they are playing a not so good Austin team and they will be at home. So I like Reagan. I like Seattle this week on defense. And looking at budget, Malanda, he was an awesome pick round 1. He was, what did he get, 14 points? He's going to have another huge price rise regardless of his score round 2. So even if he's not starting, they're away at Vancouver. Put him on your bench. He'll give you a price rise. We've also got Roldan. I don't think he's as expensive as Reagan, but he gets dangerous, on the attack as well. Hopefully he's got that clean sheet opportunity against Austin. And then Junqua, I think he's a pretty cheap option at home against Montreal. I don't know if he's going to get a huge price rise, but he's like 4 point something, so not a bad shout. And then if you're looking for some bye week options, you've got some Atlanta players. I think Cobb here is a 4.0. All right, let's take a look at midfielders. We've got up first Lucho Acosta. So Cincy is away at Chicago, but Lucho is a beast in fantasy, so I think he'll still do well. I think he got an 8 last week, so potential price rise, even if he doesn't have a huge game against Chicago. And then Carlos Heel crushed it last week against DC United, a man down. His goal was absolutely beautiful, and now New England is at home against Toronto. So, yeah, they're at the end of the game week, but I think Heel is still a really good option in the midfield if you're willing to spend the money. Also, I've got Ricky Puig. I don't know if you all watched that LA-Miami game, but it was very exciting to watch. Ricky seems like he's very dangerous on the attack, especially with Paintsill and Peck added to the mix. So I really like Puig, even though he is away at San Jose. And on the other side of that matchup, we've got Christian Espinoza. I really liked Espinoza last season. He was very dangerous. I think he's on PKs, chance creator, on the attack, everywhere. I like him. I think it'll be a shootout between LA and San Jose. It'll be a really good game to watch, and I highly recommend both of those guys this week. And then Ryan Gauld. I know we haven't seen Vancouver yet in the MLS regular season, but they are at home against Charlotte. Vancouver is a pretty dangerous team when it comes to fantasy, especially Gauld. He's pretty consistent. He's on set pieces, PKs, sets up a lot of plays. I really like Gauld this week as well. And looking at these standard options, Robert Taylor, if he gets the start, a good option at Miami against a Orlando squad. I think he had a huge score last week, really good score, so he should have a price increase even if he doesn't have a huge game this week. And then we've got Gutierrez. He had a great goal against my Philadelphia Union, and they are at home against Cincinnati, so I don't know how great of a matchup that is, but it could be a good price rise without breaking your budget too much. And then I've also got Williamson here for Portland. So Portland are at home against DC United. Williamson took that spot of Evander because Evander was a late scratch. So keep an eye out this weekend if you do go with Williamson. I'm not sure where he'll be at, but yeah, he got the goal. If he does start again, could get a good price rise with some solid points last week. And then another option is Leuven. St. Louis are at home against New York City, who didn't look too great against Charlotte. So I like Leuven. He'll be at home. A lot of options for creating chances. So yeah, I think he's a good pick this week. And now we're looking at our budget plays. I like Diego Gomez. I had him week 1 and he did well for me. So why not keep running with that? He had a decent score, even if he doesn't crush it week 2. Let's hope that price rise continues. Up next, I got Kowalczyk, I think is how you pronounce his name. Houston at home against New York Red Bulls. This guy is cheap. He's playing in the 10 in place of Herrera. If you need a cheap midfield option, could be a good guy to throw on the field or on the bench. And then Herbers. I'm going to say it, not a huge fan of Herbers. His price or his score was a little inflated as his assist really didn't count. I think he sort of just touched his toe as it went to the man who scored the goal. So either way, though, even if he doesn't do well week 2, he should get you that price rise. So if that's what you're looking for, as well as a starter, could be a good look. All right, time for forwards. Who else but Messi? He's got a picture now in the game. Got to pick him. But yeah, he had a great round 1, up 500K, I believe. He had a really good score both games in round 1. He's at home against Orlando. I like Messi this week a lot. Cucho, you probably saw what a beast he is in fantasy last week. I'll expect him again to do well, even though they are away at Minnesota. I really like Cucho this week. Bouanga, again, another dangerous guy. They are away at Real Salt Lake, but Bouanga is always creating chances for LAFC. And Chicho, not Cucho, I mess these guys up sometimes. Chicho Arango. So they're at home against LAFC. Chicho's seem like the chance creator for Real Salt Lake, so it could be a good option for one of those home strikers. And then Benteke. You saw him. He had a hat trick, against a down-a-man New England side, but still very dangerous. He'll get you a price rise, even if he doesn't do super well away at Portland. Speaking of Portland, we've got Anthony here, home against DC United. Had a brace. He looked good. Portland looked good. We'll see how they do against DC United. Even if he doesn't, do extremely well, he should have a price rise. And then Adeniran, I think he came on late for St. Louis, so keep an eye on if he is starting. But he looked really good. He had that really nice goal last week, and they're at home against NYCFC. And then for my budget picks, these are more of, storm on your bench and hope for a price rise. Sealy played really well last week. He got 10 points, so he should have a price rise, even if he doesn't do well. And then Kumungo as well. I think he was 6 million, so another good option if you need a cheap forward. And let's finish things off with captains, and who else but Messi. So Messi was a great captain pick on round 1, and he's got a good matchup at home against Orlando. I like Messi as a captain this week. Carles Gil. I like Carles Gil. He is the last game of the game week, though, and there's a risk there. If you set him as your captain, all your players play, and then say Carles Gil is a late scratch, who are you going to captain? So that's the only risk really there is around captaining Gil or any type of, late round player. And then I've got Ryan Gauld. Ryan Gauld, he usually has a solid floor when it comes to points. So yeah, could be a good option against Charlotte at home to be your captain. Thanks everyone, that wraps up my round 2 player picks. Be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and if you've got any comments, leave them below, and good luck this week.